Hello and welcome. So let's get started. We have three lines. We have x and y. They're told. We actually aren't told they're parallel. Assume they're parallel. Okay. On your homework, it'll say they're parallel. Okay. Lines x and y are parallel and cut by transversal z. Okay. And it says that given that a is negative 17 plus 88, b is v squared minus 14v. It says solve for v, right? So a and b are angles, right? You can see a is that angle, b is this angle. Well, on how do they relate to each other? Right? Angle A and B, those are vertical angles, which means that angle A, right? Angle A equals angle B. So you take whatever A was, so we say that's negative 17, v plus 88, equals v squared minus 14v. Because we know those two angles are equal, we can just take what they were, negative 17v plus 88, and v squared minus 14v, set them equal to each other. Now you have the relation, you can solve from here, right? So as soon as you see a square, you should be thinking, okay, either quadratic formula, factoring, or completing the square. I like factoring, so I'm going to try that. I'm going to say, all right, let's put everything on the same side. So I'm going to add 17v and subtract 88. Right, move them all on the same side. Okay, I like keeping my v squared positive. That's why I'm moving everything to the right side. Do you have to? No, you'll get the same answer no matter which way you go. And then plus 3v minus 88. Okay, now just factor from here. So you're adding to your middle number, 3. Your first is 1, so 1 times negative 88, negative 88. And there's really not a ton that comes to mind immediately, but 11 times 8, that's 88. One's got to be negative. Let's try negative 8. So is 11 minus 8 3? Yeah. 11 times negative 8, negative 88. Booyah. Okay, because you got a positive 1 out front, your shortcut totally works. So you get 0 equals, and then v plus 11, and v minus 8. Okay. Finish solving, just set your parentheses equal to 0, your factors equal to 0. So on the first one, subtract 11, v is negative 11. Second parenthesis, add 8, v is 8. Bam. So now you have your two solutions. Are you done? No. Right? You are almost done. You're practically there. Now you have two possibilities. It's either going to be negative 11 or 8. And you got to make sure that they both work. Okay, maybe they both work, maybe one fails, or maybe they both fail. You're not quite sure, but you got to get it done. Alright, so let's plug in negative 11 first. So if we plug in a negative 11 here, so we say, alright, so negative 11 into this v, what happens? Well, we get negative 17 times negative 11, which is 187 plus 88. So plus 88, 275. Okay, so when v equals negative 11, your angle A is 275 degrees. Okay, let's plug it into the other one. So still when v is negative 11, right, want to make sure it works in both. And here we get 121, because that's negative 11 squared, plus, because negative times a negative is a positive, so negative 14 times negative 11 is a positive 154. And if you add 121 to that, we also get angle B is 275, which makes sense. We should be getting the same number. They're congruent to each other. They're both positive numbers, which works out. You want them to be positive. If they're negative, that doesn't really make sense. This geometric figure only has positive angles here. So, there you got negative 11 as an answer. Now you double check the 8, right? Does the 8 still give you the same kind of setup as well when you go through this? Well, let's check. So now we're checking v is negative 8. Plug it in. So we have positive 8, my mistake. So we have negative 17 times positive 8, we get negative 136 plus 88. So if we add 88 to this, you get that angle A is negative 48. Now immediately this should be like ringing off warning bells, right? For geometric figures like this, it's not possible to have negative angles. Is it possible to have negative angles in general? Yes, but for a geometric figure, no, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, which means this isn't going to be happening. You don't even have to check it inside of your other answer, because as soon as it fails once, You're done. You know that positive 8 is not going to be one of your solutions. Now, what if both of your solutions don't work out? Then your solution does not exist. Okay? But that's not the case here because we did have the v equals negative 11 work, which means that would be your final solution. So v equals negative 11. That's all you'd put inside your answer box. Okay? And that's all for this one. Thanks for watching.